Hello everyone, my name is Allison and welcome back to another one of my videos. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my makeup tips and tricks, my favorite ones that I do to really give my makeup a flawless look, a very custom look, and make it look a little bit more professional. So if you'd like to see my tips and tricks, just go ahead and keep watching. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel to see more from me, and let's get into the video. Okay, so my first makeup trick that I use is to use multiple, to use 2 and sometimes even 3 products to create a more custom look, to help your makeup look more flawless, long lasting. There's a lot of different reasons why you would use 2 products, so I'm just going to share like a couple that I do the most often to kind of paint the picture of what I'm talking about. So for example, when it comes to using primers, most of the time with my combination skin, I will use a hydrating primer all over my skin, and then I'll use a pore filling primer through the T-zone, because then it's a really custom mix of 2. I get the hydration that I need around this area of my skin, and I get pore filling through the center of my face. So it always helps my foundation last a lot longer on my skin and also just look better altogether, because I'm really targeting the areas on my skin where I need to, and that's what primer is really meant to do. So I tend to use 2 different primers. Another example of using 2 products is using a matte product and then targeting a shimmery product where you also need it. So with blush, my favorite trick with blush is to use a matte blush right on the apples of my cheeks and then blend it back, and then just take a shimmery blush and put it right in this area here. So that way it's like the matte blush on the apple of my cheek, where I tend to be more porous, so I don't really love to do a shimmery blush right there. And then doing that shimmery blush right here, blending it into my highlight that'll eventually hit here, just gives it a really seamless look. And there's something about it that just looks so pretty. So if you've never tried this trick with blush before, it is just so beautiful. I love doing that. And then my third, oh, I have one more example of this. So my third example of it is using a matte cream bronzer and then topping it with a shimmery bronzer. Again, it's just like a really pretty way of using the matte cream to really get a good sculpting, bronzing, defining, and then setting it down with a shimmery bronzer gives it a much more natural look, gives you a lot more glow to your skin, and just looks really pretty. I sometimes think it can look a little bit heavy to do a cream matte with a matte bronzer on top of it. It can look really good for specific reasons, but for like a day-to-day basis, this looks really natural and really beautiful. And my final example of using multiple is layering mascaras together. So I haven't done this trick in a while. I used to do it all the time, and then I kind of just got a little bit lazy with it, but it's my go-to for when I need my lashes to look amazing and really last all day long, and it's to use this Lancome lash primer, the L'Oreal Telescopic Lengthening and Separating Mascara, and then using a volumizing mascara on top. This one's by Laura Mercier. It works. The best one to use in this case is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I don't currently have that one, but any voluminous mascara on top works, because then you kind of just get your primer, your lengthener, and your volumizer, and layering them all together always just looks so beautiful. So layering mascaras is also a really nice way of getting a very custom look for your lashes as well. My second makeup trick that I get asked a lot about is mixing products together. I am an avid foundation cocktail mixer. Like, I always mix different foundations together. I think it's so much fun. It's definitely a cool way to get a custom foundation that no one else has or no one else is using, and I tend to pick my base makeup based off of how my skin is feeling that day. I've mentioned 100 times, I have combination skin, so some days my skin is so dry and some days it's really oily, and depending on the weather outside too and what I'm going to be doing that day, I always pick my base makeup based around that, so that way I get the best wear and the best look out of my base that day. So I love mixing foundations together. I think it's like a fun game, and there isn't a definite rhyme or reason to how exactly you are supposed to do it, but my favorite way to do it is just kind of picking what kind of look do I want that day. So the easiest way to mix foundations together, if you have never done it before and it's something that you want to try out for the first time, is to pick a matte foundation and a really dewy foundation, and you mix those two together and it tends to give you a very natural satin finish look. So I love to mix together the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte and Pro Glow because they are very similar formulas in the sense that they're made from the same company. They mix really well together. So if you want it to be a little bit more on the dewy side, you mix more of this in, a little bit more matte, you mix this in, and you kind of get the picture behind it. You can also use these in the use to method, where you can use this on the outsides of your face and then just use this through your T-zone to keep your T-zone really matte, and that's also a pretty way of like mixing a custom foundation. And so that's kind of like the easiest way to try out mixing foundations if you've never done it before, but a lot of it is just going to be trial and error. There are some foundations I've tried to mix together and it's just been like oil and water. Like they just separate so badly on my skin, I can't really get them to look really good, and then I just know that they're not a good combination with each other. A lot of the times too, I'll take like a thicker foundation and I'll mix in an oil. So my Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear foundation, I usually mix in a drop or two of my Smashbox primer oil, and that too is a fun way of giving a foundation a new look. You can also mix in a liquid highlighter into a foundation, and that can give it a very dewy look to it as well. I tend to do that with my matte foundations if I want it to be long lasting, but I want it to have a dewy finish. So mixing things together just gives you the ability to make your own product and to make it work really well for you and for your skin. And so if you're having a hard time with a really matte foundation just not looking the greatest on your skin, try mixing in an oil or mixing in a dewy foundation primer like the MAC one that I can't think of the name of right now, where it's more of like the lotion, or the L'Oreal Glotion. Mix that into your foundation and see if it will give you a little bit more workability if it's really matte and it's just not blending right on your face. For my wedding day, I mixed together the Lancome foundation with my L'Oreal Pro Matte. One of the big reasons I did that is to make this foundation match my skin a little bit better. I got a lighter shade of this and a darker shade, and I just mixed it until it made a perfect match for my skin. So that's another benefit of mixing foundations together. That's a lot of the times where I will keep my favorite foundations in two shades, my lightest shade and my darkest shade, so that way I can always make a custom shade depending on what my skin is looking like that day by mixing the two shades together. So I decided to mix these together because they're both really long lasting. This one has more coverage, but this one has more oil control, so mixing them together made the perfect base for my wedding makeup day. And it just made it last so long and look so good. So another way to mix products together is with powder products. So this is a blush palette from Morphe, and a lot of the times when I use it, I'm going to mix all three shades together. Gives you a custom shade, gives your makeup a little bit of a different look to it, you know. It just, a lot of the times people will look at me and be like, what blush are you wearing? And I'm like, oh, I mixed three together. And it just makes it look a little bit more special. And then a lot of the times I also do that with eyeshadows. If one's a little bit, like I want it to be a little bit warmer, a little bit darker than the actual shade that's in there, you just mix it with a little bit of a warmer shade, or you mix it with a darker shade, and it really does change the way that your makeup looks. And you'll notice that people ask you a little bit more like, what are you wearing? What is your makeup? And you have to tell them that you mixed a couple shades together and it's really custom and it's just for you and your skin tone and your skin type, and it's really fun and you feel like you're making your own makeup products. So I definitely suggest mixing products together if you haven't tried it. It's so fun and you'll find yourself doing it like every single day like I do. And my last makeup trick that I have really developed throughout the years of just doing makeup and playing around with makeup is properly blending your makeup out and also working in light layers. So when it comes to having really flawless looking makeup, you always want to make sure you are properly blending it. So a lot of the times I will take a product and I'll just start by tapping it into place onto my face. Like a lot of times I'll take my bronzer and I'll tap it in first, and then with the brush barely touching my face, I will start to lightly blend it. So I know it seems a little bit time consuming and tedious to do it that way, but if you've never tried it before and you've always just kind of like jammed your brush on your face, which we all do, especially when I'm in the rush, I just will do that really quick. But if you want your makeup to look really airbrushed and really flawless, try it with barely tapping your skin and just really, really lightly blending. And sometimes too, I'll also use two brushes. I'll use a more defining brush to give me a contour, and then I'll come through with a fluffy brush to really blend it out. So that way I get the definition that I need, but I also get the blending that I need. And then the other thing is, if you haven't tried using a beauty sponge damp yet, it'll change everything for you, because a damp beauty blender is like your best friend ever when it comes to makeup. It just really makes your makeup look very flawless. It adds hydration. You can use it for your foundation, your concealer, any cream products to set your face with either a pressed powder or a loose translucent powder. You can use it to really press your setting spray into your face when you're done. I find that having a damp beauty blender on hand all the time when I do my makeup really changes the way my makeup looks and just helps keep everything look very flawless and airbrushed. So you don't need to spend a ton of money on brushes. My favorite makeup brushes are by Real Techniques. I also love Eco Tools, and e.l.f. Cosmetics has a ton of really great brushes too, but so you don't need to be spending like a ton of money on brushes. It's more just about picking the right ones for what you're using, and to try that technique where you tap it on first and then really lightly blend it out will really change the way that your makeup looks. Those are my 3-ish makeup tips and tricks that I just wanted to quickly share with you guys today. Those tips have seriously changed the way that I've done my makeup. I've figured out some of them by watching other people, some of them just by playing around on my own. So definitely try them out if you haven't already, and let me know if they work out for you. I hope this video was helpful. If you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up so I know. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more from me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!